Own the road with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Whether you're cruising through Nashville on I-40, heading down I-90 to Boston, or touring Santa Cruz in the 5, you'll be covered by the largest 5G network. T-Mobile covers the most interstate highway miles in America with 5G.
See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com. Most reliable according to independent third-party Umlaut from crowdsourced user experience data from January to July 2021. Fastest according to Open Signal Awards based on average speeds in USA. 5G user experience report July 2021.
You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everybody. Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders, and this week I am your hunk.
No doubt.
You didn't get a quote.
We did sneak up on me. I was not aware you were starting right now.
We started it different than normal, so it makes sense that you wouldn't have a quote.
I was not aware that you were starting it at this point, so excuse me while I type just furiously to go to IMDb. But as you know, obviously, I'm Doge. And sarcastically to the celebrity amateur poker players, implying he's going to win the hand. I'm not sure what 4 9s does, but the chunk, I think, is pretty high.
I'm Carter. Now they tell me I paid my debt to society. Funny, I never got the chunk. Nice.
Well, at the beginning of this totally normal intro to our show, Jordan, you said that you were the hunk. And you can't just be throwing that crap around all the time, man. And we need you to tell us why you think that, why did you feel that you deserve this great honor?
Well, it's because I was deemed worthy of another honor, the honor of joining two lovely human beings in holy matrimony. I did officiate a wedding for the first and hopefully last time a week ago.
What kind of is that? That's got to be massive pressure, eh?
Dude, it's the worst. I have no fear of public speaking or being like up in front of people or anything like that. But the moment that the wedding
really, because you seem really shy. Shy is always a word I would use to describe you.
I'm a shy person, uncomfortable with attention. But the moment that I was supposed to be like, who gives this bride? It was just like, who gives this bride? Like every part of me was just vibrating with fear. And I think my theory is it's because it's so important. Like if you just called me up on stage, randomly handed me a microphone and were like, hey, fill 20 minutes, I'd be like, got it, no problem, let's do this thing. But you give me months to prepare 25 minutes worth of talking that bonds you together forever with your spouse. Ooh, boy.
Yeah. That's weird though. Like prepared speeches are so much more nerve inducing than just off the cuff.
Dude, it's just the weight of marriage. I'm a big marriage fan, big marriage guy. Love it. Huge fan. And something about that. And the thing that calmed me down was I was like, couldn't tell you a thing that happened at my wedding, like a word that was said in my wedding ceremony. So I was able to, deep breath and forge ahead with the main thought being just don't beef it so hard that that's what becomes memorable.
Yeah.
Right.
And you'll be fine.
Just fly under the radar.
And so we got through it. I did okay. I didn't collapse under the pressure. So we did it. But man, if it was the last one I ever do, that'll be fine.
Yeah. Done. Thanks.
Do you have any good jokes?
Well, that is hunky, man.
Any good jokes that you said? Like good classic marriage jokes?
Yeah. I was like, man, marriage is tough. It can be hard to, understand like another person 24/7. For instance, take my wife.
Please. Nice.
So that
you did not do that,
No,
oh, Rodney Dangerfield up there.
just kept pulling on my collar to release all the steam. I was like, yee. Jeez. I don't get no respect.
No, take her, please.
I don't get no respect. Yeah, no, I did some jokes that were highly contextual to the couple and the room itself that would not be remotely funny
What
here.
you need to do, isn't it?
Inside jokes.
Like I was like, how about his grandma, huh? You would have that would have killed. That would have slayed if you guys were there. Yeah,
Everybody laughed and pointed at grandma.
yeah, and everybody was like, ha, grandma, she's sleeping.
Classic Gigi.
So yeah, that's why I'm the hunk.
And that's my favorite part of Ocean's 11, for sure. Is that
Of
kind
what?
stuff.
Why did
Nothing.
you say that?
Of nothing.
Well, let's go ahead and let's
well.
shatter the glass then if that's what this has come to. This is the first episode of our new series, Heist To Meet You, where we're breaking down the biggest, baddest, and most iconic heist movies of all time. And the first one, the starting movie, is the movie, my offering that I've brought to the table and laid bare before my friends, is the movie known as Ocean's 11. The Clooney one, not the Sinatra one. Thank you very much.
The Clooney one.
Not the Sinatra one.
Here's what's crazy, and we'll hear the synopsis first, and then I'll tell you what's crazy.
Yeah, let's hear the synopsis first and then tell me what's crazy.
Is MA the postal abbreviation for Massachusetts?
I believe so.
Yes.
This IMDb synopsis was written by Monkey King MA, which I desperately hope is Monkey King, Massachusetts.
I hope it's a
that's
town.
powerful.
I hope an entire town called Monkey King, Massachusetts got together and wrote
That's a
this.
powerful name. Monkey King, Massachusetts writes, recently paroled con artist Danny Ocean is a man who keeps his cool in situations unlikely to make any individual comfortable. No sooner does he violate his parole that he's traveling around the country gathering people for his next big scheme to rob 3 casinos owned by the ever-ruthless Terry Benedict. With the aid of a right-hand man named Rusty, a thief out of retirement, a pickpocket, a card dealer, a surveillance man, a Chinese acrobat, an explosive experts, 2 frontmen, and a bitter casino mogul. They make up Ocean's 11, out to make one very big score.
That was too long.
Okay, hold on.
And to help Snow White, there are 7 dwarves. The happy one, a sleepy one, a smart one, a dopey one, a grumpy one,
A doctor one?
a sneezy one.
A doctor. He has a doctorate. There's a very good chance that what's about to happen does not make it into the episode, but if I don't do it, it's going to feel like I held in a sneeze. I think Monkey King MA is actually Monkey King Ma, which means it's the Ma of the Monkey King, and I think that song would go a little something like this. So that's it. That's the joke. That's all I have.
Oh my goodness gracious. Hey, you should have said that at the wedding. That was so funny.
I'm so happy right now. That was very good. There's just gorillas in the back. They're like, ho, 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 ho. Very bizarre.
Wow.
Something that I was going to say is Jordan, I think every time you talk about the Ocean's 11 that you're going to do, you say the George Clooney one, not the Frank Sinatra one.
Sure.
Here's what's crazy. Even with like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, basically the Rat Pack,
Yeah.
having done the original Ocean's 11, feels like the one we were reviewing today is so iconic. I bet like one out of 2
I don't
people wouldn't
actually
even
have
know.
to clarify.
Wouldn't even know what the other one, that there was another one.
Right. It's just a bit at this point because this is the true Ocean's 11.
2001, 20 years. It's in its 20th year of
crazy.
existing.
That's crazy.
And this was
okay.
Doge's first time, which is
This
wild.
was Doge's
Sure
first
was.
time.
Love that for you.
Because I wasn't born yet when it came out.
Doge was born in
'cause I'm so
2006.
Youthful. Look at these smooth under eyes, guys. So youthful.
No, so this was a movie. We've talked about it before. We've made the jokes about. I think we talked about it on the podcast that Doge and I both grew up. Our families watched the movie RV with Robin Williams a weird amount of times.
I've seen RV with Robin Williams and Jeff Daniels and Kristen Chenoweth and the pop star JoJo
and the kid that plays PETA, right?
Yeah, but like probably 40 times.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot of times. And so like we were family movie night family. We, Blockbuster, order a pizza, post up in front of the TV on the couch as a family. And a recurring family movie night movie for us, like a lot of times, probably a couple times a year, was Ocean's 11. So I have seen this movie so many times. It's a movie that I not forget about, but whenever people ask what are your comfort food movies? I don't think of Ocean's 11 until I watch it again, and I'm like, oh, definitely a comfort food movie. So I love this. Carter, what's your history with this movie?
I saw it. I remember seeing it pretty soon after it came out. I would have been 13 or 14, which at that time too, you're kind of deciding what you think is cool.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, being like a 14-year-old and Ocean's 11 comes out and there's all these actors in it. It didn't feel like, at that point too, you have A-listers. Like there's been A-listers is kind of getting more and more defined. I remember I was already very deep into loving movie culture. And so there was an acknowledgement that movies cost a lot of money and actors ask for a lot of money. I think I was already kind of getting to know personally, like contractually, what are they getting paid for this kind of stuff? So to see all of them together, I knew something was up. It definitely felt like Ocean's 11 was one of those, yesterday on our Mini Monday episode, we talk about Don't Look Up, which has Meryl Streep, DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Jennifer Lawrence. And so you look at things like that and it feels a little bit more common to have just everybody in a movie. And it also can happen in rom-coms. I remember like Love Actually was just like, oh, wow, look at all these people.
Right.
But yeah, to have Oceans and pulled together basically at least 4 of the biggest names at the time.
Yeah.
With Damon, who's hot off of, I think 4 years prior was
would have been
Hunting.
2 years hot off of The Talented Mr. Ripley, which is a
Mr.
movie I
Ripley.
always
Talented
remember
Mr.
and never
Ripley,
forget.
Clooney, Pitt, and then Julia Roberts.
Sure.
And then of course there's all these others. I was blown away. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, this is when I think ensemble cast, I think Ocean's 11.
Yeah, definitely.
This is one of those that if you're ever playing the movie game, which is something that we did for hours and hours in college, getting back to Oceans was a place that was kind of a safe place.
Always nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've
Tons
got
of
a million
jumping off
different exit routes from this movie.
You go Scott Conn, he's easy to jump off of. You can go Hawaii Five-0, or his dad, James, you can go Scott Conn.
Because that's how the game works.
Sure, yeah.
Lineage is also one you can always
it's
use.
nice and
Lineage.
easy.
Scott Conn's home videos, and then go to his dad, who's in them probably.
So, Doge, how much did you know about this movie prior to starting it? So Doge actually watched this. Doge and Jess, his wife, came over to our house for Labor Day and watched this movie. I wanted to watch it with Doge for his first time. So I got to watch Doge.
That's funny. I did too and didn't know anything about this. So that's great.
I knew next to nothing about this.
That's
Really?
crazy to me.
Yeah, just for some reason had completely dodged.
That's a gift. That is a
dodged
gift.
all of it. Yeah, I just knew that it was a heist movie starring George Clooney, and I was like, I'm sure there's some other A-listers in there. I straight up did not know who was in this movie, anything other than George Clooney's the lead.
Right.
Love that.
Right. That's such a fun way to go into a movie like this.
And I really didn't understand it. It was very confusing to me. I'm not quite sure what happened.
Like, why did they show the air freshener? I don't understand. What's the point of that? Like, am I supposed to understand like that a smell matters? I don't get it. The humor in this movie is so interesting because it's 20 years old and the gentlemen in it are who they are. This movie verges on dad humor pretty frequently.
Hey, that's where I like to live, baby.
Sure. No, I love it. But if this movie came out today and included the line Ted Nugent called he wants his shirt back, people would assume.
No, that's good. That's funny.
But now people would assume that it was like a MAGA shirt covered in crocodile skin and like a big sign on the front that says like vaccine, no thank you. I don't know. I don't know anything about Ted Nugent much anymore, but it's such a product of the time that it was created in.
Absolutely.
And I love it. None of these are digs at this movie. You won't catch me digging at this movie.
Listen, it's not Ocean's 11's fault that Ted Nugent fell from grace, to wherever he is now.
Was there ever grace? That's the question.
At this point, Ted Nugent in my brain is a taxidermied crocodile.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a taxidermied man. He's got beef jerky skin.
Got beef jerky skin for sure. He's a taxidermy.
It's whoever the guy
holding an
singing
AR-15.
Mr. Grinch would rather hang out with than be friends with Mr. Grinch.
Yeah, which would make me question the guy singing Mr. Grinch. If I'm being
100%.
honest, but that's just me.
Hey, this has virtually nothing to do with Ocean's 11.
Hi, Doge. Welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk, the podcast.
Yeah, super pump.
Please, super
Already?
pump.
Going into this movie, having no idea what it was about, but knowing it was heisty, I was not expecting it to be so like intentionally heist tropey.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like we've got our like even our music, our like just like foxtrot jazz, like hi-hat, ride cymbal while we're explaining the plan.
Mm-hmm.
All these montages of here's the plan, and now we're actually doing the plan, and then we're back to the narration, and then all of the twistiness. This script is absolutely wonderful. And I'm not sure how much of it is, straight one-to-one from the old one, from the Rat Pack one. But this script is my super pump. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I love it too. Have you seen The Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Oh, yeah.
No, I haven't.
No way. That's
it's
one of my
so
favorite
good.
movies. One of my favorite Wes Anderson movies.
You guys just
obviously,
find out I hate George Clooney.
But there's definitely a scene that I think is a bit of an homage to Oceans and Clooney and Oceans talking about going in and getting the crew together. So there's something really interesting that happened here. And there had obviously been heist movies that came before Ocean's 11 and waited out, and this will make sense. But there were high school movies before Mean Girls. But the way that Mean Girls was kind of explaining, and you could even say, some people could credit it to 10 Things I Hate About You, which came before Mean Girls, and saying, these are the emos, these are the jocks. Like the way that it kind of does that rhythm of introducing certain things. Oceans kind of started to own, here's the crew, and here's the plan, to me personally, as a movie watcher. It's like now, if it comes after, you can't help but be like, I think this tastes a little bit like Ocean's 11. And I think it's just because there's something about every piece of this puzzle that just goes in and completely owns it.
Yeah.
I think everybody knew what they wanted it to be. They knew how it wanted to go. I've never seen so much trivia, so much about the acting approach and how it seems like everyone who played this role got to have pretty free artistic freedom to do whatever they wanted. Everything from Rusty eating in every scene.
Yeah.
To Reiner saying, I want to like skin this. The way he eats his orange is so interesting that he's like skinning it like an apple. But it's just, people wanted to do all these quirks and stuff. And I love almost all of them. I'm going to go ahead and get my super dump out of the way. I like to do that on movies I love.
I'm about to as well. So
And he would do the same thing if you read into it and read interviews that would come later. But Don Cheadle's character, that Cockney accent, has gotta go.
Yeah, super dump for me as well.
It's terrible. It's my super dump also.
Yeah,
so
but what's great is Cheadle knows.
Oh, for
in Ocean's
sure.
12, his character comes back, and so
Bonnie Robo, Trouble.
he tells his agent, I don't want to do this. I want to write in a way to where I don't do this accent anymore. And the agent was like, no, we can't do that. So he was trying to not
stuck,
do it anymore.
Don.
But he got stuck. Don got stuck
so
in this
bad,
iconic
dude.
movie doing an iconically bad accent.
It is
That is-
horrible.
Honestly, among the worst actor choices that I can think of.
It's so bad.
It is totally wild. I mean, it's on par with, to me, it's on par with Kevin Costner in Robin Hood. Like, what are you doing? Why is your mouth moving like that?
Yeah.
I still think Don Cheadle is great for that role.
Oh my gosh,
just
he's
don't
so
make him
fun.
Cockney.
He's
There's
so
no
fun.
reason.
His
Yeah.
accent is just horrendous. Well, and I feel so. My super dump was almost, but it got edged out because of how bad Don Cheadle's accent is. So it's when I was a kid, I thought Don Cheadle was actually British because I didn't know what a bad accent was. My super dump was almost that I kind of feel like Matt Damon is wasted in this role and that he was grabbed for his name and didn't really get to flex very much. But at the same time, he's the young gun on screen with Pitt and Clooney. So I'm going to give it a free pass here because Damon's never a bad choice. and it has to go to Cheadle's horrific accent.
Yeah. Oof.
I would push back on the Damon thing. Actually, I absolutely love him. He's probably a top 3 or 4 character for me.
I love him too. I
Top 11
wish
for
he got
sure.
to do more.
I don't. I'm saying like I love everything about his role. I think he was doing exactly what he needed to here. He actually ended up being more in this than I remember. Because I remember kind of feeling how you do currently about it, but then kind of seeing, and I think a lot of it is because a lot of his screen time, he's not talking. And I know that seems weird, but he's
Now his best scene is when he is playing the guy from the Nevada Gaming Commission.
amazing.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he's
He
wonderful.
does so well there. Kind of reminds me of his character from Talented Mr. Ripley.
And that's the number one movie
Which is my
I always
favorite
think
Matt
of
Damon
when I think of
movie
Matt
that
Damon.
I never forget ever.
I always actually think his name is Mr. Ripley, Matt Ripley.
I just have to
remember
watch
that's
that
just a
movie, I
role.
guess, so that I can
kinda need
remember
to.
it.
Yeah. What was almost my super pump, and I'm going to try and hold on to my super pump until after the shout announcements. But what was almost my super pump is our introduction to Rusty. So some actors get a bigger introduction than others.
Yeah, dude.
But him playing poker and teaching A-listers,
That is
A-list
so
actors,
funny.
poster.
The fact that
there's so
Topher
much
Grace
funny
is
about
playing
this.
himself.
I love that Topher Grace is playing himself, and he's leaning into the fact that, like, hey, I'm sharing the screen with Clooney and Pitt. I get it,
Totally.
right? But the fact that the three of them walk out of that club, everyone's slowing down Topher for his autograph and pictures, and nobody is talking to
I know.
Danny and Rusty, right? Who are clearly Pitt and Clooney, but they're
That's
playing
so
these
funny.
characters,
Right.
And they have a moment where they just kind of look at each other and move on,
Dude,
like wink,
their
wink.
nonverbals together, Clooney and Pitt, Ocean and Rust. Woo.
Yeah.
Unbeatable. Both of those guys are just so good at that
Yes.
in particular.
Yeah.
And for this role, I think, Soderbergh, our director, did such a good job here because there were other big actors at the time that I don't think a movie like this suits them. I love Leo, but I don't think the quirkiness and charm and I don't know, the buddy vibe of this. I also could have a day where I could say, Leo can do anything.
Sure.
But names like that, I think our choices were pretty spot on for our leads here.
I
think
agree.
it was done really well.
I agree. And it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned Rusty eating in every scene. That is the Ocean's 11 version of Viggo actually broke his toe during this scene when he kicked the helmet. Like, it's just that trivia that I always want to be like, Brad Pitt actually said that he didn't feel like Rusty was going to have time to eat regular meals, so he's just constantly eating a little bit at all the times. Okay, whew, let's watch this movie. Like, he's just always eating.
I can confirm that you did say that before we even pushed play on the movie. You're like, just so you know, Brad Pitt is eating all the time.
I still get angry when I watch him eat the shrimp cocktail and take a bite that is only about the top third of the shrimp rather than just popping that whole bad boy in there.
Eat the whole shrimp. Eat the whole shrimp.
Eat that whole shrimp.
That's
Well,
crazy.
maybe that's why Brad looks like Brad, though, and I look like Doge. Because I eat a whole shrimp at a time, and Brad paces himself.
"Oh,
man, why aren't you eating it all?
Chelsea and I watched this.
Where'd you? Another great big fat shrimp.
This was our date night, was to watch Oceans, because this is one of Chelsea's favorite movies and one of my favorite movies. And so I was trying to do themed things around that. And every themed menu for Oceans is like eating everything Rusty does. And I was like, I don't have the time to put this together, because it was like trail mix,
Cheeseburger.
cotton candy, nachos, cheeseburger, Caesar salad. It was
It's
just
like a trip down the line at Golden Corral at that point.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, you're right, Jordan. It definitely is one of those top things like that has just become its own lore.
Totally. And let's circle back a little bit to, we talked about their nonverbals, but specifically, I want to give all the credit in the world to specifically the trio that set the vibe of this movie: Soderbergh, Clooney, and Brad Pitt. I think the three of them are not solely responsible, but they bear the lion's share of the work for making this movie have the right vibe.
Yeah.
And this movie is all vibe. I mean, like every bit, the meeting, the way that Clooney talks to everybody, the I always think about Carl Reiner getting his suit tailored to him, and he asks, "Are you? Or is it Pitt that asks him, hey, are you ready for this? Are you sure you're ready?" So
No, it's Clooney.
If you were asked me that question again, you won't wake up in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And his interaction when he turns around, he's like, he's ready. I don't know, man. They fit this so well.
Well, that's something that really surprised me about this. It had a lot more character than I was expecting.
Totally.
And I think
Chock full of.
right. I think I was expecting more of a just like straight over home plate,
A dad movie.
Yeah. I mean, but this had like almost like a Bourne or something where it's just like, okay, this is just, they're playing it straight down the middle. But
Right.
this had a lot more character than I was expecting.
playful.
It reminds me of sort of Knives Out. I feel like this is to the
Totally.
heist
Good
movie
pull,
genre
yeah.
what Knives Out is to the Agatha Christie murder
Absolutely,
mystery genre.
Absolutely.
In terms of just like strong ensemble cast and everything that comes after it. Carter, I was thinking about this whenever you said earlier that everything comes after Oceans feels like Oceans.
Mm-hmm.
I think any Agatha Christie movie we make from now on, people are going to be like, oh, that feels kind of like Knives Out because it just shows up and wholeheartedly owns those tropes with a great deal of character.
Sure.
Yeah. Any kind of subversion of expectations now is Knives Out. Is a Knives Out thing.
Soderbergh kind of has that skill set too of just like,
This is his wheelhouse.
yes.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if y'all have seen Logan Lucky.
I have. I just watched it.
It is
a couple weeks ago.
Adam Driver, yeah?
so fun. Yeah, I do
Craig.
not feel like that movie got the love that it deserves.
No, not at all.
I think it is really, really fun and really well done and a great heist movie.
It's Adam Driver, Daniel Craig, and who else? Who's the other?
Yeah, it's
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Okay, why did I think it was Danny McBride?
Because it fits that vibe 100%.
That's wild.
Because it's about NASCAR.
Yeah, I guess so.
But man, Soderbergh just has this gift for playing in a given space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, really on display here in Ocean's 11, specifically with the Mormon twins, as they call them, Scott Conn and Casey Affleck, who are so funny in a way that is not out of place. Absolute scene eaters, Carter. Yeah. The balloons, when I told Doge this, when I see a bunch of balloons, I still think of this movie. It's all that I can think of.
Casey Affleck is quietly
one of the funniest people.
One of the funniest people.
Yeah.
He is, I was also going to say like one of the best actors in Hollywood. He is.
Oh, for sure.
He's got some depth, man. He's all over the place.
Yeah, his range is
just
insane.
so good.
His, I guess it's Scott Conn delivers the line. It's one of my favorite lines in any movie ever when he's like, hurry up before I drop you like third period French. When he's about to run over his baby truck in his big truck. But they're, who you calling guy, pal? That whole back and forth with the balloons is so good. But I can't help but laugh every time they show up in a different set of costumes.
Yeah.
You know what? The funniest scene in the whole movie. Sorry for interrupting, Carter. I apologize. It's just so important to me. If we end this podcast without me talking about them playing 20 questions together, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, that's so good.
It's like, is he a male? Yes. 19. Is he alive? Yes. Evil Knievel. It's so good.
They were almost a super pump for me.
Yeah.
They're
were
to
close.
me, I feel like the external thing that we bring in, and it's like whenever you get a hot chocolate that has cayenne pepper in it, and you're like, that's not usually part of it, but why does that make it so much better?
Yeah.
Right? Like the Mormon twins to me feel like something that's not usually part of this trope, but they make it so much better.
They are
make this
tahini on a
vibe.
margarita glass.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah. They, thinking back specifically to the scene too with the balloons, is when that's originally shot, we don't see them. We just see the balloons walking through the casino and then hear them arguing with each other as the balloons hit the ceiling. I think I bring that up because script, cinematography, acting, you can kind of tell when there's a vibe that saturates an entire movie. And this movie's just clever. This movie is clever and charming. I think to when Don Cheadle's character is watching the demolition of this building on television.
Yeah.
While it's happening, just barely, just kind of faded out, blurred out in the background, and he's kind of surprised that the lights went out. You know, it's just, it's so clever.
It is.
So good.
It is.
This is a set that I would have loved to just be around.
Yeah. This is one of those that you want to like get the DVD or the Blu-ray, I guess, or the 4K Blu-ray, I guess. Boy, at this point in time, and watch all the behind the scenes stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't know why I felt the need to send us to like a don't touch that dial kind of a vibe right now. We're going to shout announcements, but there's more show. So don't touch
that dial.
Don't touch the dial.
Is the shout announcements part of the show? Is the part where we do all the shout announcements? Hey guys, just workshopping a new sort of almost Barry Gibb style
I was about to say.
intro for shout announcements.
You can tell by the way I shout my announce. Shout my announce. That's
Shout
fun.
my announce. Hey, I'd love to
have
have
the first
announce.
I have the first shout announcement, and it's going to be our second installment into Heist To Meet You. And what we're going to do is, hold up, my dog is barking. Nana says there's squirrels outside.
That sounds like what a dad would say if he was having a tummy time.
I thought dogs
are barking.
for feet.
It's for your feet sometimes. But something that we're going to do is we're going to get together and we're going to steal the Declaration of Independence. We're gonna watch National Treasure together.
Oh man.
And it's gonna be so great. It'll be fun. I'm gonna have to work on that. I'm gonna have to warm up my Nick Cage muscles.
You got to do the Abed thing.
But,
I'm a cat.
a cat. We're gonna watch National Treasure, and I couldn't be more excited because it is certainly a heist movie with perhaps more at stake than stealing $172 million from Terry Benedict. Maybe more at stake.
Freedom itself is on the line.
We're gonna find out. It's kind of been right in front of us the whole time. But yeah, I cannot wait. It's just gonna be everything. We're gonna have Scene Bean in his classic role of JK, I'm not a good guy.
Yeah.
So he does that a lot.
Look, I forgot he's in that.
I also forgot he's in that.
Which is the one? Oh, I guess Ed Harris is the villain in the second one, huh?
I've only seen the second one like once, maybe.
Oh, I owned it.
I'm sure you did.
Delicious.
It's funny.
I can say that one word.
Because it feels like National Treasure during a heist series is the kind of thing we would normally put on Patreon as a bit. But instead, what's happening on Patreon right now
No,
is...
the people need it. All the people.
I agree. Right after we finish recording the episode you are currently listening to with thine ears, we will be turning right around and recording the second installment of the Back to the Future series. We're going to record Back to the Future Part 2. That's for our Patreon feed.
Scott!
We're doing... It's weird. We're doing a Patreon series that feels like it would normally be main feed, and we're doing a main feed episode that feels like it would normally do Patreon, which is bonkers.
It's a big switcheroo.
You know what helps you get both?
Tell me.
$3.
$3.
Just $3.
It's $3, y'all. If you've got 3 doll hairs per month, let's be fair, it's per month, you can get access to all of our patron exclusive episodes in our patron only podcast feed. You also, at that tier for $3, get an extra vote in any vote series that we do, which we've mentioned before, has drastically changed the outcome of many a series. So that second vote matters, especially if you really want to talk about a specific movie. I would recommend locking in that second vote. And that might come in handy, spoiler alert, pretty soon.
Pretty soon. Very
soon. So wink, wink, a nudge, nudge. But also, if you got $2 extra and a desire to talk to us more frequently, for $5 a month, our second tier of Patreon gets you access to our private Discord server where we're talking about movies, some video games. We're talking about our top 5 of all sorts of different things. My favorite top 5, by the way, Carter, so far has been movie theater snacks. I love knowing what people munch on in the theater. I think that's really great. Yeah, the Discord is super cool. Probably one of my favorite things that we do here at Two Chunks is the Discord. It's super fun. Lots of discussion. Oh, it's also where Box Office Ball is currently happening.
That's true.
So if you want in on the second floor of that for the next season, I would recommend going ahead and getting a head start on that. We want you in Discord. Join us.
And listen, if you're in a situation where all that just sounds like a bunch of work, and we get it, it's hard work, and not everybody wants to do that. But the main thing you can do to help us is to get us to 300 iTunes reviews by our 4th birthday, which is October 10th. Soon, we're going to be very big boys. And very big boys need to have lots of podcast reviews in order to continue to grow to even be very bigger and stronger boys.
I'm going to move to the top bunk pretty
Very
soon.
bigger and stronger.
So don't you want us to be big, strong boys?
Gotta eat
Don't
our
you want us to be
vegetables.
bigger and stronger boys? We got to eat our vegetables. And for podcast, vegetables are reviews.
That's true. That's what I always say.
And that's how it goes. But you can head over to iTunes and leave us a review and a rating. 5 stars is great. That's definitely our preference. But if you honestly feel like this is 1-star content, we need to know that too. We're big
let us
boys.
know.
We're going to be big boys soon. We got to know the
We
truth
have been
about
told that
ourselves.
we were great and we got 1 star.
That is
true. That is true.
Favorite podcast. I love it so much. 1 star.
We did it again. Verizon was just named America's most reliable network by Root Metrics for the 16th time in a row, proving once again that nobody builds networks like Verizon builds networks. That's why we're building 5G right. That's why there's only one best network, Verizon. Best and most reliable based on Root Metrics reports from second half 2013 to first half 2021 of 3 operators on all network types combined, not specific to 5G networks.
I'm going to super pump and you can't stop me. There's more to talk about. We haven't gotten to Julia Roberts. We haven't gotten to, oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name all of a sudden?
Andy Garcia.
Thank you. We haven't gotten to Andy Garcia. But I'm going to super pump now. We can get to the rest of that later. My super pump is the heist itself. It rules so hard. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's very good.
Specifically, the triple twist.
Yeah.
It's like you're watching the floor exercise in the Summer Olympics. There's so many twists.
There's so many twists. I think the twists in this heist work. I think they pull it off. There is nothing like the moment where Matt Damon and the audience both realized that they were lying about all the conflict in order to make him feel like he had to get the job done. There is nothing like watching Andy Garcia, Terry Benedict realize that the floor of the vault does not say the Bellagio. I mean, it is. And then finally, the SWAT team van with the air freshener.
Yeah.
It is just chef's kiss. The heist rules. And in a heist movie, you'd like for the heist to rule.
That's one of the main important pieces of it.
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, I think something that is what's so fun and different too about this movie is I think what's pivotal to the heist is someone who's not even a member of Danny Ocean's 11. And I think Tess, because of the relationship between Danny and Tess, all of a sudden now there are different stakes, right? It becomes more personal. And I remember Oceans differently than when I had watched it now, because it does feel like it's just a fun thing that there's really hardly any repercussions, right? It's like they get away with it. Everybody wins. But ultimately, Danny goes back to jail. He's risking kind of everything here. When the root of it is, this is a love story, right? Is it not?
Yeah.
Like this is a romance, essentially.
I honestly feel like
in
the romance
in a heist movie.
Outside of Don Cheadle's totally atrocious sounds from his mouth, I think the romance is far and away the weakest part of this movie.
I agree. Yeah.
I disagree.
I think that Julia Roberts is given virtually nothing to do.
No reason to return to Danny either.
I agree. Like she is treated as if she's like an add-on, right? Like a free check out now and you get Julia Roberts in addition to your money.
Yeah,
and it's
her love is something that can be won by beating the other person and not earned through like relational equity.
She feels like a prize rather than a person. And it's not my favorite thing in the world.
I agree.
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I think
she's fantastic in this though, when she does get her chance to shine.
That's because that's how you impressed Chelsea, right? Stole all that money and she was like, "Oh, I'll marry him."
He's
for sure.
He's the one.
Yeah.
He's the
definitely.
one. Yeah. I think it showed to me the way that I read it and I don't think it was too much assuming of something. I think some of it, not necessarily was lobbed up or spoon-fed to me, but I think it's there, is that she definitely was, Terry feels to me kind of like a rebound a little bit.
Yeah.
An
She was
incredibly
not
unsafe
over
one.
Danny.
Completely not over Danny. And I think he kind of knew that. I think ultimately you can have an argument that she's not the add-on. The $172 million is the add-on to getting Tess back.
Yeah.
Because without that, the stakes aren't high enough to have the choose between the two. That feels like Danny's idea to steal the money started with, how do I get Tess back? I think that's what I love about my viewing of it. Also, the two of them together. Did you know that on set of Ocean's 11 was the first time, at the table read, is the first time that Julia Roberts and Clooney met in person?
Wow. Doesn't it feel like everybody that big should already know each other? Like they all should have each other on speed dial?
They should have a big group chat. Yeah.
Their chemistry together, their scenes together were some of the best writing, I think.
Agreed.
Was just really good, and kind of her pretty consistent burning of him and saying, no, here's how much you hurt me. It's never going to happen. So I do get it was as easy as, even though the heist isn't easy, it was like, oh, she's back.
Yeah.
That feels old Hollywood to me. And there's some things about old Hollywood that we need to grow out of. So I totally get that. But my super pump is George Clooney. And it's basically like you took the greatest athlete that you know of, right? But then you put them on a world stage and they still just absolutely dominate.
Right.
Like George Clooney shared the screen with scene eaters, all of them. With Pitt, who a lot of people would argue is more charming than. To me, Ocean's 11 is the write it in stone, just stamp it. Like George Clooney is the most charismatic person on earth.
Sure. Yes.
I think there is nobody cooler on earth than Clooney. And Ocean's 11 is the bolded font, the heading of his resume.
Sure.
He was right here in the middle of it and still could not take my eyes off that man. He was phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's
really
so
is.
freaking cool.
Yeah.
He's just naturally cool. You talk about the nonverbals and just the way that him and Brad work together. There's just something about, I think without Clooney being Danny Ocean, I don't think you get to live vicariously through all these people willing to go on a heist with him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, of course it's Danny, right? Someone had to walk in with some kind of trust without having to say much at all. And it had to be George Clooney.
Agreed.
I think he's perfect.
Yeah.
I think this maybe is my favorite. Maybe not my favorite, because I love him in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But peak Clooney right here.
Agreed.
I think there's that natural charisma that he brings to it that is so essential to the character of Danny. And he's not acting. He just he has that charisma.
Right.
In the same way that it's like, it's important for Thor to be tall and muscly. Good thing Chris Hemsworth is tall and muscly because he doesn't have to act tall and muscly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
that's so good.
Carter, it's such an interesting point I hadn't thought about until right now. But yeah, it is important that Clooney is Danny, because otherwise I'm not going to buy it when 10 people, 11 people are all like, this is crazy, but yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because it's Danny. It's Danny. If it's Danny, it's going to work, right? Like that's sort of the vibe. Yeah, man, that's such a good point.
Yeah, it had to be him.
Yeah.
I think if Clooney wasn't so like naturally cool, I would dislike him because you know what I mean? Like he's one of the Hollywood families, right?
For sure.
With like his aunt and stuff. Like it almost feels cheating. Like you had your foot in the door, but he's one of those people. It's like when there's a actually very talented musician who gets, like a ton of radio play and you're like, you actually deserve all of the attention and all of the
Bruno Mars
recognition that you're getting. Yeah, exactly.
He's Bruno Mars.
I should dislike Bruno Mars because he is so, wildly successful but there's just something like he actually earns it, fully earns it.
Yeah. No, that's a good.
What's funny with Clooney is it doesn't even feel like calling him the Bruno Mars of movies. It even does justice.
Bruno Mars is the George Clooney of music.
That feels insane because nobody's the Clooney of music.
Yeah. Absolutely insane.
Andy Garcia as Terry Benedict rules.
Yeah, very good.
He is so spooky. Like the control that he has inside the walls of his casinos is intimidating and believably scary.
Yeah. I told Chelsea we're watching Benedict, and it's just, he kind of keeps the same expression the whole time, which is perfect, of just this kind of like, I don't really trust you, but I've got business to do. I said, I've never been so sure that someone used to be an animal in a previous life. And Chelsea's like, what? I was like, Andy Garcia was a falcon. 100%. This man just looks like just this like bird. Just intimidating, but still kind of got some grace.
If I may,
you don't want to piss him off.
Andy Garcia as Terry Benedict is Scary Season 1 Michael Scott.
That's funny.
I could see it.
It's exactly what
That's
he looks
funny.
like.
Yeah,
see it.
Andy Garcia as Terry Benedict is a representation of a lot of what makes the acting choices great in this movie. Is that there is, I would say, it leans more on subtlety than a caricature of a character. It's like everyone's got these nuances about them that aren't just super blatant, except they're incredibly distinguishable. If that makes sense, I don't know. I'm sounding juxtaposing, but. Nobody's way over the top. Even Bernie Mac is not really being super Bernie Mac.
Dude, the scene where he buys the van.
Love that.
It's very good.
And the brothers are just bouncing on it in the back.
I think that nuance is why Cheadle stands out so bad.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Because he's the one.
It's because there is no nuance to his performance. He is a cartoon. He's a caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to think everyone was looking around and was like, hey, man.
Dude, what are you doing?
A little bit. Nobody else is doing this.
Well, and I feel
Nobody
like
else is doing this.
Like we've already shot too much of the movie for you to stop. So, man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Just got to keep going.
He just walks. He's like,
we're too far
all right,
in.
governor, let's get it going then, eh?
Do you
what?
want me to blow some stuff up?
Let's blow it up, eh?
Hey, man.
I'll go there and blow it up. I was like,
The image of a poop-covered turtleneck is burned into my brain forever. Is there a worse shirt you could be wearing to be stuck in a sewer?
More like he put the turd in turtleneck.
Ew.
oh, turtle.
Ew. Hey. Ew.
Oh.
Doge, we're not at the end, but man, we're nearing it. And I don't think you've super pumped yet, my guy.
Yeah, that was the first thing I did. Super Pump's the script.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Boom.
Yeah, because it's great. It's
What
so
now?
good.
That's right. Well, I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to forget anything before I wanted to have a quick discussion about Rusty eating. I know we talked about it at the beginning a little bit. But
Did you know actually that was Brad Pitt's choice in this? He felt like his character wouldn't ever have time to eat.
Did you know
and so
Brad
he
Pitt broke
decided-
Aragorn's foot when he ate that helmet? I guess specifically what I want to talk about is those little things, those character choices, things like Rusty always eating, things like
Don Cheadle's accent.
Don Cheadle's accent, things like that. No, just those things that lend a little more life to a movie because it feels like you're watching somebody that existed outside of the time frame of the movie happening.
It's because that stuff's not important to the story.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter at all. Ocean's 11 is not a different movie if Brad Pitt is not eating.
Right.
But it makes it feel like he exists even when the camera's not pointed at him.
Yeah.
Are there other things like that in this movie to you guys? For me, one of them is the Mormon twins doing the brother, like the, I didn't touch you. I'm not touching you, actually, is the thing is that I'm not touching you. And you can't make me stop
I
touching
fully
you 'cause I'm
believe
not
that
touching
those guys grew
Right.
up together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that little, it's flavor, it's seasoning, it's the bay leaf in the movie. It's like these little, I don't know what to call it other than just like flavors of reality that get sprinkled in that make you believe that the world stretches beyond the lens of the camera when you're watching a movie. And I just feel like this is full of those kinds of things. Particularly, and maybe this is a little more in your face than like Brad Pitt eating, but like the little nods to all of the previous jobs Danny has done with these people make it so fun. Like the fact that they go meet with, what's Ross's dad's name?
Ruben.
When they go meet with Ruben and just, you can tell that the rapport is already there from previous experience working together. And he finishes with that, I owe you for that one time when we did that thing. I'll never forget it. It was beautiful. You know, that whole thing. He knows he's got backstory with it, but he's done so much he can't. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm just in
It's
awe.
funny. I think it's only because we brought up Aragorn, but it's definitely the world building a little bit of these similarities of, you know, there's something that I would call like thief speak all throughout this movie is like when they're naming like, okay, and you need an Ella Fitzgerald and you need all these different things. For all I know, they made that up. But to me, it's like, okay, I don't really get to understand that because I'm not a part of that
Such
culture.
a good point.
You know, and so they just throw that stuff in there. But yeah, the thief speak and the referencing of like everyone knows everyone else's history, which makes you think the almost all knowing of Terry Benedict makes sense because if he's done his research, he knows these guys' backgrounds.
There's some rap sheets
he
can
knows
read,
when he's
probably.
standing by Ruben. You've got to think when he's standing by Ruben blowing up the casino he bought out from Ruben, it's because he knows Ruben is a thief.
Yeah.
He's just quietly choking everyone out.
100%. That's so good.
Which in Ocean's 12, it's basically vendetta time, right? It's like we know with the tailing at the end. I always forget the twins are tailing Danny as he comes out of the prison. But you could always tell there's going to be more.
12 is such a step down from 11 too. I'm glad we're not doing an Ocean's series because I don't want to have to watch 12.
There's no need to do all of it.
Well, dang, my excitement for watching 12 just completely disappeared. It evaporated.
It's not very good. It tries to be the Italian job a little bit.
I like it, but it's not Ocean's
Second,
11.
12 is not casinos again, right? 13 goes back to casinos, but 12 is not casinos, right? It's art,
right?
Isn't it? The last,
it's who's the better thief situation.
Yeah.
Thief off.
Kind of like Despicable Me.
And am I? Never mind. I don't think it is. Is Carrie Ells in one of them?
I can't even think of who that is.
Are you thinking of The Princess Bride?
Oh yeah, sorry. I get those confused all the time.
They're similar.
Carl Reiner, Rob Reiner. You never know, man.
Yeah. Which Reiner?
Are they
which Reiner
related?
Is it, you know, it's his dad, right?
Is it?
I think it's his
Is
dad.
it? Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
His dad. Yeah, he passed away earlier this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Still his dad.
Still his dad.
Still his dad.
Dad forever.
Still his dad.
The last thing I want to bring up before we move on to rate this movie is simply Ruben explaining the 3 most successful casino heists in Vegas history.
Yeah,
is
very good.
such a fun scene.
Very, very good.
His narration, the music, the way things look, it's just so fun. I think it's really great.
Yeah.
It is time to rate this movie, the first movie of our Heist to Meet You series. It is science. We're going to use science to rate this one.
Yeah.
The scientific cinema
It's a
scale.
good thing to do this time.
To be exact, it's perfect and as follows. The best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it. Don't lend it. Buy that poster. The next best thing is going to be buy it. That's followed by rent it. And then stream it. After that is forget it. And last, but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us.
It's a poster for the boy.
Ooh.
Love that. A first watch poster.
Yeah, this is so good. I think it was the perfect storm of like going in with absolutely no expectations other than I know George Clooney's in this.
Right.
Only to find out, hey, he's the best part of this all-star cast.
Right.
And then the script itself is so good. I was like, there's literally nothing except for Don Cheadle's bad mouth that I dislike about this movie.
Dude, I wanted to talk about it when it ended so bad, but I had to hold my tongue. And I was like, I can't tell if he liked it or not because he's not freaking out about it, but he might just be freaking out about it without saying anything because he doesn't want to talk about it before we record. Like, I wanted you to like this so bad, so that makes me happy. It's a poster for
great.
me as well. I knew it was going to be a poster before I even hit play. So I just love this movie so much. I think it is, it's perfect for Jordan. I'll tell you that. It's an easy poster. I think this movie slaps every part of it. Even Don Cheadle.
Doge, you call it a perfect storm. What's funny is less than a year before that, Clooney would make a movie called
The Perfect Storm. Yep.
Incredible.
Wait, that's what I
it's
watched. What did you guys watch?
It's a poster 100% for me. It's a poster. I think I had fun trying to replace certain characters with different actors. Like Soderbergh, one of his favorite guys to work with is Matt McConaughey. And McConaughey, to be honest, feels like an okay fit, especially in the year 2001.
Yeah.
But it feels like it would change the balance that
Who would
made
I
this
take out?
movie.
Yeah.
Right.
That made this movie a poster for me. And so, yeah, it's I can't find a way to make it much better. except for Don Cheadle's accent.
McConaughey feels like you'd add him in a sequel, and he's like Brad Pitt's brother who's he's leading a rival thief gang.
Yeah.
But then by the end of
Pitt
it,
is who
he
I think
joins
of.
the thief gang, and they're like, we're family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Cena's in the Thief gang.
Yeah, perfect.
They like to drink Stella Artois, and only you can have any drink from the cooler as long as it's a Stella Artois.
As long as it's a Stella Artois.
As long as it's wild turkey.
You can street
You can have any.
you can street race anything you like, as long as it's a Lincoln.
I was gonna just
good.
be like, you can have anything from the cooler you want as long as it's a Lincoln. Like, wait, what?
As long as it's Reliant Energy.
Oh, he does do Reliant, doesn't he? Hey, don't.
He does everything.
This is just a PSA. Don't watch the other Oceans movies. I haven't seen 8 with Sandy Bully. It might be good. I don't know. I haven't seen it. It's not Steven
8's
Soderbergh
great.
though. I know that. So yeah, just
8's really
just
good.
don't watch 12 and 13 if you love 11.
I would say watch them if you want to.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry
you can
to-
do whatever you want. I guess
Sorry to do that, but
you can watch it. You can. It's your life. You know.
You can watch if you want to.
You can leave me behind. At least.
Yep.
You know. So anyway, if you skip shout announcements, first of all, stop. Don't skip it. I like shout announcements, and it makes me
We
sad.
should clickbait it. We should just you won't believe. 3 things from shout announcements. You won't believe number 2.
Number 3 will
you
shock
remember
you.
shout announcements from years ago. You won't believe how it
You won't
looks
believe
now.
what shout announcements looks like now. Shout announcements was on the beach doing what?
Doctors hate shout announcements for this one simple trick.
2-piece bikini at that age?
Shout announcements, you're bold and brash.
We have to stop.
Look, my if you missed this part
I
or
said
just
bikini, by the way.
bikini.
Is that
like
whenever you take
biscotti.
is that whenever you take a bikini and you smush it on a George Foreman grill with some meat and cheese in it? It's a panini.
No,
A
I
bikini
got it.
panini.
No, I got it. No, I was there. I
It's
was
like
already
how
there.
you make a panini.
No, I was already there. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. That's my point. I just want to make sure you know that the second heist movie we're doing for Heist To Meet You is National Treasure. And if you don't think that's awesome, then you might have tuned into the wrong podcast. So we're going to do that next week. Also, Back to the Future Part 2 coming at you real soon. Actually, spoiler alert, or I guess more of a peek behind the curtain. As soon as we finish this episode, we're just turning around and recording that one.
Yeah,
So
it's coming at us even sooner.
if you like this energy right
I
now,
love that. That's a spoiler.
it's just going to bridge all the way through.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in for that.
Make
one.
sure go in there, maybe tune in, eh?
To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our name and which accent we think Don Cheadle should have had. Instead, his natural born accent is not an option.
Oh.
For 2 Chunks and a Hunk, I'm Jordan Wonders, and the answer is German. The answer is German, but still keep all the Cockney rhyming slang he tried to do,
Yeah.
but in his German accent. So he'd be like, "Oh yes,
This would be like a rebel."
We're in some serious Bonnie rebel. I mean, yes, trouble, indeed."
I'm Doge, and the answer is Goofy. I want him to talk like Goofy. We're in some serious trouble.
Oh my goodness.
Barney Rubble.
The first one was a pretty good Goofy, actually.
Gorsh. I'm Carter, and I don't know. There's all of y'all's are so good. I always get caught up on the weirdest ones to end the episode. There's a lot of pressure here to be the last one. I'm Carter, and I think he would do a George Clooney accent.
Wow. And just George Clooney ADRs all of his lines. Amazing.
I don't know how to do a George Clooney impression. It's got a,
I don't either.
I think it's like a
Just be cool.
Talk cool.
It's we're in some serious Barney Rubble. It's
We're
a little
in some serious Barney Rubble.
Are there people who do Clooney in person? I feel like I've never seen someone.
I don't think I've ever seen a Clooney impersonation.
What's that dude's name? Ross
Ross
Marquand.
Marquand? I bet he's got
He's
a Clooney.
gotta have a Clooney, right? That dude
Ross
does everything.
gotta have a Clooney.
If I know one thing about Ross, gotta have a Clooney.
Ross does everybody. Ross probably has a me.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Hey, Tony, how about you let me wear one of them suits, eh? I could be something like War Machine, eh? What, how about you let me do that? We're friends.
Dude, honestly, that was a spot-on impression of Don Cheadle's bad
Yeah, that
accent
was
for real.
a good impression of bad Don Cheadle.
That was so good.
Reggaeton, the beat that has taken over the world. But honey, not a lot of people know how it started. I'm Ivy Queen, and I'm here to tell you a story. The real story behind reggaeton, none of that fake shit. It's a story of how we got loud. From Spotify Studios and Futuro Studios. Loud, the history of reggaeton. Listen for free, exclusively on Spotify.
Own the road with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Whether you're cruising through Nashville on I-40, heading down I-90 to Boston, or touring Santa Cruz in the 5, you'll be covered by the largest 5G network. T-Mobile covers the most interstate highway miles in America with 5G.
See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com. Most reliable according to independent third-party Umlaut from crowdsourced user experience data from January to July 2021. Fastest according to Open Signal Awards based on average speeds in USA. 5G user experience report July 2021.